shoulder openers. Okay, so the first shoulder opener, if you can't hear me very well, then please do notify me about that as well. It's a very gentle shoulder opener. So you're going to take your right arm up above the head and you're leaning across the body. Okay, you're getting straight all down the right side of the body. Shift the weight back into the right foot. See how that feels. And then straighten up. Bring the arm down and around and get hold of the other arm. Okay, so now the shoulder that you're opening is your left shoulder. If you can't get hold of the arm, then just keep the hands behind and grab hold of the fabric of your top. So you should feel this in the left rotator cuff. Quite a nice one. If you're doing a lot of computer work, this was a good one for taking your shoulders back. And then off we go. Same thing on the other side. So you release that side, take the arm up and overhead. You want the arm to be in line with your ear, ideally, just so that you're getting a stretch in the side of the body. Shift the weight. It will make you come up a bit more, that's fine. And then take the arm down, back behind, and grab hold of the other arm. And you might find it's easier to access one side than the other, so that starts giving you a sense of which arm and shoulders tighter. But I think this is just a great release in terms of shoulders back and down. Okay, so we're going to repeat that. So release, the arm comes up and across the body. So we're back to doing the right side again. Left arm's going down the leg. Breathe. If you take a nice big inhale through the nose, you can feel the way the breath creates space on the side. And then bring the hand back down, goes behind, gets hold of the arm. So that's what you're looking at. Okay. Think about drawing the belly in. See how that feels. Okay, and then up and across the body on the last time. So leaning over to the right with your left arm. And you might feel this all the way down to the hips, hip flexors. If you're sitting in a chair, it's quite likely, and then the arm comes back behind. And once more you go over the arm, just try rolling the shoulders back to really feel that stretch, and that might enable you to get hold of the arm that's by your side a bit more firmly. Yeah? So already we've created quite a bit of space in the upper body. Okay. And now we need to take the arms above the head again. You're going to come onto your toes. Take the arms up above the head. And then on an exhale, you're facing forwards. I've brought my right arm forward and I've taken my left arm behind. And then I'm coming back up. And I'm doing the same on the other side. Right arm forward, left arm back. Come back to centre. And this time, it might wobble you a lot, but just try turning the head as well. And then back to centre. If you fall out of the pose, just do it again. Ooh, wobble on then. And then turning again, following the hand. And you'll feel that a bit, you'll feel it more strong in the shoulders. Okay, and then back to centre. And release. Last one, working the sides of the body. Hands coming up above the head. I'm getting hold of my right wrist with my left hand. And I'm tugging over to the side, really quite firmly, so the top arm's straight, and it's as if you're trying to pull your arm off. Not a very yogic image. Okay, and then straight over onto the other side. So swap sides, please. Get hold of the left arm with the left wrist, and pull. Roll the shoulders, and now we're going to move into doing some sun salutations, okay? So, starting with 2 Surya Namaskara A's and then 2 Surya Namaskara B's. So this is just to warm up the body. So the first one, coming to stand at the front of your mat. I want you to ground into your feet. So I'd like you to close your eyes and get that sense. Look down, spread your toes, just say close your eyes. Spread your toes and then close the eyes. Feel firmly into the ground. Take the weight into the back left heel. And feel the way the weight that ricochets right up through the body. And then go for front right toes. Shifting the weight over. Keeping your eyes closed because that's comfortable for you. And then we go from there into front left toes. And back into right heel. Okay? And then I want you to lift up the toes, spread the toes, and think about getting weight evenly in all four corners of the feet we talk about in yoga, but just front and back even. And pushing down, you can probably feel it gives you a bit of strength and length that goes right up through the body. Okay, so just moving with our breath for a minute. We're not going to go forwards. I want you to just inhale, take the hands above the head. And then exhale, hands back down by your sides. And then again, inhale, hands up above the head. Exhale, fold forwards. Hands come onto the thighs. And we're not going to move yet into the sun salutation. Now inhale back up. Hands above the head. And now we're going to start the sun salutation. So exhale, folding forwards. Hands come onto the legs. Lengthen through the spine. Next inhale, put the hands to the floor. Really firmly bend the knees as much as you need. Step or jump back. Or I suggest walking for the first one. Now we're in plank. Push up between your shoulder blades. Really make that massive. And if you've had a rough, tough day, you can drop to your knees and concentrate on alignment. You're coming down, otherwise lower down, keep your elbows in. We'll all come to the floor for the first one. You're coming down with your bottom and your shoulders in alignment, yeah? Take the hands back slightly, inhale into upward dog. Exhale back into downward dog. And it's 5 breaths here, slow, steady. Looking towards your toes or your belly button, so the neck is nice and relaxed. Pushing the heels in the direction of the ground, coming into contact with the breath. And on the next inhale, walk forwards for the first one, walking forwards. Lengthen through the spine, so an L shape with the body. Release, look to the knees, and then swoop the hands up above the head, look to the thumbs. And exhale back down. So concentrate on moving on the breath, slow, steady breaths. Next inhale, up we go, looking for the thumbs. Exhale, folding forwards. Hands onto the legs or the floor. Inhale, straighten the back. Exhale, step or jump back, your choice. Lower down with control and come through into upward dog or cobra if you prefer. And then exhale back into downward dog. And it's 5 breaths here. If you know how to do Ujjayi breathing, activate your Ujjayi breathing, please. And then step or jump forwards. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, hands come up above the head. Exhale, hands back down by your sides. So we're going to do Surya Namaskara B now. So on an inhale, bend the legs, weight goes into the heels. Hands come above the head. Same procedure, exhale, folding forward. My front hands come further down the legs now. Lengthen through the spine on the next inhale. On the exhale, step or jump backwards. Lowering down, come through into upward dog. And then exhale back. Turn the left foot in 45 degrees. Right foot's coming forward, so quite a strong lunge. Coming up, we are going to look at alignment. We're not going to move on the breath for the first one. So you don't want your front leg caving in. Make sure that knee is over the ankle, okay? Think about scissoring the hips towards each other, so both legs are active and strong. And then on an inhale, hands are coming up above the head. On an exhale, you're coming forward, stepping back, lowering down, coming through into upward dog. Exhale back into downward dog. Repeat all of that on the other side. So bring the left foot forward, right foot's turned in at 45. This time we're going to move on the breath. So do that sort of little alignment with the hips as you bring the arms up above the head. Exhale back down. Step back. Lower down with control. Come through into upward dog. And then downward dog or child's pose. If you'd rather do child's pose, so I'll demonstrate child's pose. That's where toes touch. Knees are wide. Getting a lovely stretch in the hips with that one. Or downward dog. Think about inner elbows just moving to face forward slightly, or just creating an opening in the shoulders. And on the next inhale, step or jump forwards, your choice. Lengthen through the spine, fold to look at the knees, and then bend the knees, weight goes into the heels, hands above the head. Exhale to stand it. So that one is great for generating warmth and heat, yeah? Straight into the next one. So same procedure, inhale, bend the knees, arms above the head. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, jump back. Lower down with control. Coming through on the inhale into upward dog. Exhale, back into downward dog. Turn the left foot in, bring the right foot forward. So quite a strong lunge. Inhaling up. Hands above the head. Try not to dump it into the front leg with your, so your pelvis is a bit more upright. Come back down, step back, lowering down with control. If you're feeling tired, or your arms are feeling like they're taking a lot of work, please do come to your knees and do that in a controlled way. Now we're bringing the left foot forward, right foot's in at 45, hands come up above the head. Exhale back down, stepping back, and then lower down with control. Through into upward dog, and exhale back into downward dog. 5 breaths here. You really push the heels in the direction of the floor, and that will shift some of the weight out of the arms. And on the next inhale, step or jump forward. Lengthen through the spine, look to the knees, and then bend the knees, arms above the head, and exhale to standing. So that would have done the trick in terms of warming us up. Next pose, so you've got your feet hip width apart. And I'll go a bit mumbly as I demonstrate it. So this next one we're going to use slightly serious. You're going to inhale, take the hands above the head. And then on the exhale, you're folding forward. So just watch for a second. You're folding forward. Either take hold of the back of the legs or possibly the big toes. Depends how warm you've got and how this feels. It's tugging here, bend the knees, yeah? Get a nice stretch like this with your torso on your thighs. And it's 5 breaths where you're tugging. You're tugging the toes up with your hands and your toes are pushing the fingers down. So it's 5 like that. And then the second part of the sequence is you take your hands underneath the feet, okay? And ideally, you go for big toes by your wrists. So the first thing is to get some length in the body. So hands come up above the head. And then on an exhale, folding forward. Get hold of the big toes. And then get that traction. So the fingers are tugging on the heel, on the big toes, as the big toes push the fingers into the floor. Got a bit of a pickle then. And I want you to shake your head. Make sure there's no tension in the head. Okay. And then imagine that you're breathing into the back of your ribs. Keep tugging, keep getting that traction going. You might find you go a bit deeper. Belly's drawn in and up. Elbows pointing back. Okay. Then just lengthen the spine, so straighten the spine, and fold the hands in underneath the toes. And this is a really good wrist stretch. And then exhaling, thinking about whether it's possible to straighten the legs, and you want the weight to come into the toes rather than into the heels. If you're holding onto the shins, just tugging on the shins to take yourself a bit deeper. Okay, and then release whichever version you've done. And then as you exhale, really slowly come up to standing, one vertebrae at a time, drawing the belly in, using your core, coming up to the head. Okay, I'm going to do reverse triangle now. So for the best thing to do is to do it from the sun salutation. So we're going to do ragdoll, and then we'll go into reverse triangle. I'll talk you through it, that's the best way to do it. So ragdoll, we're going to arms above the head, exhale, fold forward. And you're just coming to hang, and this opens up the whole of the back of the body. So you'll grab hold with your elbows and just hang for a minute. And then I'd like you to take your hands to the floor and step back into downward dog. And we're going to take the right foot up into the air and let the toes fall towards the bottom, just open up that hip. Now bring the foot through, so it's come across the body in the direction of the left hand. And you want that foot to be firmly on the floor, okay? So you might have to modify where it's placed. And then you're taking your left arm up into the air. So it's like triangle, but it's called fallen triangle. And breathe. If you want, you could take the hand onto the back rather than having it raised in the air. I think about drawing the top shoulder back. It's completely your choice. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, and then bring the hand down. Step back into downward dog. Walk the dog for a minute, so that's just bending the legs, bending the knees. And then we're going to do the same again on the other side. So left leg now is coming up in the air. It's dropping towards your bottom. Just giving you a strong hip opening. Keep the arms straight. And then bring that leg through. So underneath the body. Have the foot on the floor. And then you're going to raise your right arm up into the air. Or if you want, you can take the arm behind you and concentrate on bringing the shoulder back. So 5 breaths here. And then release. Bring the foot back into downward dog. And we're going to walk into ragdoll again. So bring the feet forward. As you go to cross the arms, think about, that's your habitual way, so change the cross. So bring the arm, one arm on top of the other. Does that make sense? I'll come and show you. So you do your habitual cross, and then you'll just change the cross. And then relax down. Does that make sense? So that's how I automatically do it. So I just go and bring the other arm on top. And then you're hanging loosely forwards. And now I'd like you to place your right hand on the floor. This would actually be better with some blocks, in my case, or books. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend my right knee, and I'm going to take my left arm up into the air. Okay. There's 2 ways of doing this. I've done this version. The other version is to not bend the knee and keep the hips level. It's a different stretch. So try that sometime. And then release, bring that arm back down, putting the hands in the middle of the mat, or in between the midline, and repeat on the other side. So I'll come back, I'm not turning away from you. So arm goes up in the air, or it can go, again, it can go onto the back, and you could think about opening up the shoulder. So it's whichever works for you. You might want to play with just straightening the leg and feel how different the stretch is when keeping the hips level. It might be that it's tightness in the hamstrings and that's not an option. Absolutely fine. Whichever you're doing, you're getting a lovely twist in the side of the body. So then we're going to release that. And we're going to come back into downward dog. So we've got a lot of inversions going on. And you're going to bring your left foot to the inside of your right hand. Okay? So this is, it's called an active pigeon pose. So you're going to, first of all, you'll take the left leg up into the air. And then you're going to swing it through, okay? And then I'm encouraging mine with my hand. So it's come through and it's by the right hand. Now you want to make the left foot active. You want to have the toes coming back to the shins. And this is going to get to the side of the leg really quite nicely. So then you bend your arms. It's quite challenging, right? Well, it depends where you're tight, ready? And you're bending the arms. Okay. Keep that foot flexed, and you'll feel the stretch on the outside of the bent leg. And then release that, bring the foot back, and come into downward dog. So walking the dog for a minute. And the same again on the other side. So foot comes up into the air, right foot, and right foot's coming over opposite left. Comes up to face you so you can see. It's coming to the outside of the left hand, flexed toes, and then exhale and inhale, moving on the breath, bending the arms, and so the whole body's moving up and down slowly. Good. Okay, how's everyone doing that? Okay, great. And then release out of that, so come back into downward dog. And then what I would like you to do is take the right foot up into the air and then bring it through into a lunge. Okay? So you could fold your mat. It's really nice to support the knee, even if you don't have any knee issues. So one option would be to fold your mat. Another option, if you've got a block, would be to use that. So we're coming and wiggling my front foot forwards. And then what I want you to concentrate on, I've sort of mentioned this before, is to lift the torso up. Think about scissoring the hips towards each other, if that makes sense. So you're drawing your front right hip back. And that just stops this sort of position happening. It creates a better position for the spine. And it means you're getting a stretch, you're not dumping the weight forwards. Okay, and then I'm going to ask you to take your left hand up in the air. And then on an exhale, you're bringing it across the body. But yet another twist. Right hand's coming on top. And then you're using the traction to take yourself slightly deeper with the twist. But the same thing about the knee. Check the knees not collapsing in. Don't want to put any strain on the knee. And the intention is to bring the hands towards the midline of the chest, which is just never going to happen for me in this lifetime. I'm still getting a lovely stretch, and that's what matters. Okay, and release that. And I'd like you to think about drawing the extended foot towards you. It's not going to move on the mat, but just the idea of drawing it towards you should give a nice stretch down the back of the leg. And then we are going to go backwards and forwards. So moving backwards and forwards. Might be that you do have to bring the leg back slightly. Might be that you need to cut, it's not comfortable being on the floor, in which case feel free to put your hands on your hips. Yeah. Okay. And then the last one in this sequence is you're going to take the back leg off the floor. And this will give you a strong stretch in the front quads. So back foot's come off the floor. Well, not foot, rather, sorry, back knee. Okay, and then release that, step back into downward dog. Okay, and we're going to repeat that all on the other side. So the first thing was the twist, so I'll change sides so I'm not talking away from you. So now it's left leg is going up in the air, and then left leg is coming in between the hands. I'm taking the foot forward so I can feel a stronger stretch. It doesn't matter whether you have the back foot down on the floor or you have it with the toes curled under, completely your preference. So coming forward, getting a nice stretch on the quad here, and then bringing the arm up above the head, my right arm, taking it across the body, placing the left hand on top, and it's the same thing, we're pushing actively with the hands in prayer, getting a strong twist. Please do put something under your back knee if needed. I don't want you to put any pressure on your knee. Draw the belly button towards the spine. Push actively, you might find you get a little bit deeper. Slow, steady breath. Okay, and then release that. And you're pulling, your foot's not moving, but you're imagining that you're pulling that front foot towards you on the mat. And it's activating the muscles in the back leg. Okay. You know, it might be useful to have a couple of tins of baked beans or something to keep yourself a bit higher if you find this a little comfortable. And then we're going to move backwards and forwards now. So we're extending and contracting, and you can come up if that doesn't feel comfortable, and you can move the leg closer to the body if it's not feeling comfortable. Okay. So these are good for after running. And then the next one's also good after running. You come forward and you're taking the back knee off the floor, foot staying on the floor, but the back knee is coming off the floor. And you can feel a strong stretch in the quads, groin, psoas muscle, everything's at the top of the hip. It's a lovely release. Well, one person's lovely is another person's nightmare, so just depends on your type. Then let that go. And we're going to come back into downward dog. And then we're going to grab hold. There's another side stretch. You're going to grab hold of your, well, I'll demonstrate. So you're coming back into downward dog. And then I'm going to take my start slightly shorter. And I'm going to take my right arm towards my left thigh. Also left thigh, or the left shin actually. Left shin ideally, you want it to be as low as possible. As low as is practical for you. And then I'm looking up under my left armpit. So it's another side stretch. Slow, steady breaths. Might be able to pull yourself a bit deeper. Come a bit further under. Maybe, maybe not. And then bring the hands back and you've got it. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and then bring the hands back into downward dog. Take right foot up high. Bring it forwards. And we're coming into intense side stretch. So my right hand is staying by my right foot. You can bring the arm up onto the thigh, that feels better for you. Very active in the outside edge of the back foot. So the stretch is going to go all the way up to the body. It's a really lovely stretch. So go with which option. Sometimes coming low can constrict the breath when you don't want to do that. Swing the hand up and over. As if you're reaching for something that's just out of sight. Push into the back foot, really make that leg active so all the weight's not happening on the front leg. and you're looking up at your arm, or your body, your head's gone towards that, but your eyes are going towards your fingers. Okay, and then from here, sweep back into warrior pose. Okay. From here, come back into reverse warrior. So my left hand's gone down my thigh, with the back leg, and my right hand is above my head. You want to deepen that. You could get hold of the right hand, pull it back, and come onto the toes of the right foot. Optional. Be nice to yourself. Okay. And then we're going to come down into intense side stretch once more. Hands coming up over the head. Reaching for something just out of reach. Pushing into the extended leg. Okay. And then same again. Swoop back up into warrior. Looking down the middle finger. Check your knees not going in. Scissor the hips towards each other. Making the legs active. And same thing again. Hand comes up over the head to reverse warrior. Back bend. Great. And then coming forward. We're going to come round. So your feet are parallel. Okay, feet are parallel, facing forward. You don't want them pointing out. You want them either pointing forwards or slightly in. Hands are coming onto the legs, and we're going to look over our shoulders. So first of all, I'm looking over my left shoulder. And then I'm looking over my right shoulder. So I'm going to do this 3 times. Left shoulder. Right shoulder, moving on the breath. Left shoulder. And right. And then I'd like you to either stay with your hands on the shins. So you're going to lengthen the spine, create some space. Either stay with the hands on the shins or bring the hands to the floor and think about pushing the floor away from you to bring the head in the direction of the floor. So head's going in the direction of the floor, elbows are pointing back. You might be able to bring your hands further back. Sort of getting them in line with the feet, possibly in line with the heels. Slow, steady breaths, okay? And on the 5th breath, straighten the spine. And then I want you to turn to the other end of your mat. So you may well be turning away from there. And we're repeating the sequence where we go for the wide angle stretch. So hands either on thigh or on the floor. Reaching up over the head. And then bring the arm back and come into warrior. You can sweep the arm underneath the body or over the head, or option. Active warrior. I'm going to turn my fingers to face upwards just to get that opening across the chest, okay? So I can feel I need to open my shoulders and then back over the way. You're looking down your middle finger and then release and come into the reverse warrior. The left hand's coming up over the head. If you had hold of the hand and you went onto your toes last time, do it again, please. And then come back into warrior. From warrior, come down into intense side stretch. Three breaths here, and then back into warrior. 3 breaths here. Slow and steady. And then back into reverse. One more time. 3 breaths here. And then release that. Bring the feet to face forwards. Going to take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, draw the shoulders back, And then on an exhale, we're folding forwards. If you imagine you're going over something, like a banister or something, you can give you a bit more space. So exhale forwards, shake the head, make sure there's no tension in the head, and then think about drawing the arms possibly away from the body. You're pushing the hands away from the body. That's the main thing. And that will give you the engagement in the shoulders. Okay, and then release that. So we're going to do one more thing now, and then we're coming to the floor. So what I want you to do is bring your hands to the floor, and then take your weight over to the right hand side of the body. So the left foot pointing upwards, okay? And the right heel might be on the floor, or it might not. Hands coming to prayer. And this is a strong stretch, hand side, back, inside of the leg, and back of the leg, okay? And then we're going to shift our weight. We're going to do it twice. We're going to shift our weight. You don't have to stay in prayer. It is easier for you. You can keep the hands on the floor, and you come over to the other side. If that's not accessible to you to have the foot pointing up, don't worry about it. Once you've got to the other side, try and take the hands away from the floor and come upright, just to get that sensation. Obviously, you don't want any tugging in the hamstrings, and you don't want any pain in the knee. And then again, so try now coming without putting the hands on the floor, but if you have to put the hands, it's no big deal. It's not going to make you a happy person being able to do this with your hands by the chest, you know. It's not going to make your life more fulfilled. It's just an add-on, really. I mean, the main thing is the stretching the legs. And then off we go again, last time. Coming across. And see how that feels. So if you did put the hands to the floor, then think about raising it to prayer now. And then once you've done that, we can think about wiggling the feet towards each other and coming into squats. You might want to put some blocks underneath the heels. If the heels don't get to the floor, please do that. It will make it more sustainable. If you've had you know, you could even sit on some blocks or sit on some books if that feels more comfortable and means you're going to be able to stay in the pose. So we're in squat, staying here for a couple of breaths. This is very good for the lower back. Think about straightening your back, not slouching. You've guessed it, got one more side twist. So now I'd like you to take your right hand to the floor and take the left hand up and look towards your left hand. And then come back into prayer. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So the left hand now is coming to the floor, right hand is coming up, and looking towards the hand. Great, and then come to sitting, please. Okay. So from here, we are going to go into boat pose. So first of all, bring your feet in towards the chest, or towards the body, so you can get a nice flat back. And then just bring the feet up and get that sense of where you are. So you're keeping the back straight. This may well be enough. Or you might want to take the hands away. So you're doing a bit more core work and bring them in front of you. And you may want to keep the legs as they are. The main thing is that you've got a straight back, or you may go with taking the feet straight. So those are your different variations. Be respectful, choose the right one for you. Just because you could do one version last week doesn't mean it's the right one for you today. And then release. Okay. So we're going to stay with feet crossed. I just want to take a little bit of a stretch into my hip, okay? So I've got my left hand on my left hip, and I'm going to push. It's on the thigh, really. You don't want it on the knee, and I'm just pushing the thigh away from me. And then I want to resist. I want like you to resist back with the thigh. So this is getting into your hip flexors here. It's really good if you've been sitting in a chair all day. And then swap sides and do the other side. So first of all, we're pushing away, there's no resistance. And then I'd like you to resist with your thigh. So the thigh is pushing up and the hand is still pushing down, and you'll feel that that goes deeper into the hip flexors. And then there you go. Bring the feet out in front of you. So this is Baddha Konasana, or a version of Baddha Konasana. So the heels touch, and think about pulling the toes apart. Stretch will be down the outside of the body. 5 breaths here. And then let that go. Check the time. What are we doing? Okay, we need to move on to doing some back bends, but first of all, I'm going to draw my left knee into my thigh. Think about the left knee going, sorry, left foot into thigh. Think about the left knee going in the direction of the floor. Active extended leg. And then take your hands, I would say go either side. So I want you to look at this. So sometimes we get caught up with coming forwards, and we've got this bend in our spine. If you come forwards with your hands either side, you can hopefully keep a bit more space in the lower back, okay? So come to wherever you come to, and then release the head down, but you're looking at the toes. Belly drawn in to protect your back. And think about this, the bent knee going towards the floor and working your hip flexors again. And come up and swap sides. Foot comes in against the thigh. Get the length in the body. You may want to lift the hands up to get that length in the back. And then bring the hands to the floor. And imagine you're pulling the floor towards you. And exhale forwards, leading with the chest. Looking to the toes. If you really want to get hold of the toes, then feel free to do that. Think about bent leg going towards the floor, bent knee rather. You're still really working actively into the hip flexors on the outside edge of the leg. Great. Inhale, come up. So we're going to move on to doing some back bends. The first one that I want to do is a very gentle one. I want to come onto your, this is a knee strengthener as well, so very good if you are ready. So you're coming onto your heels and you're reaching back, but you're keeping your knees on the floor. Just going to get into the, it helps with the knees, but it also stretches out your quads. So just do that for a minute, please. See how that feels. It's a gentle back bend. I just took my bottom off my heels. So take the bottom off your heels, see how that feels. Release it back down, do that 3 times. Bottom of the heels. And then back down. Last time. So maybe push up a bit more now and really think about opening up this opening up we've done with the chest. And release. Come to sitting on your heels. Now we can take the knees off the floor, which is working the feet quite strongly. So that's not comfortable. Don't do it. Okay, any of these things, not comfortable, don't do it. Take your hands into prayer. And then the last one, we'll go onto our backs. Have the toes tucked under, and hands come to prayer. And feel free to put cushion here to create a bit more space in the knees if you know your knees are sensitive, or alternate by coming up and then coming down. If it's too strong on the toes, yeah? And then from here, we're now going to go onto our backs. So come to lying on the back, bridge again. We're going to do bridge. So I'd like you to feet parallel with the sides of the mat. Get your arms this time. Hug your arms. So you're pushing your elbows into the floor, and you've got your fingers in this active stretched pose. And it will really help with opening up the back, opening up the upper back, okay? So hands active. If you want to do the wheel, that's part of your practice, and you'd like to go ahead and do the wheel. Please do that. Open up the back. This is what I like to do relaxation. And the other option would be to do shoulder stand, which would be quite nice if you wanted to do shoulder stand. I'm sticking with bridge because if I do shoulder stand, I can't explain it. I get all muffled. So on an inhale, we're pushing up, whichever we've decided we're going to do, really pushing up. Actively pushing into the feet, really pushing your elbows in. Bring your elbows in a bit closer to the body. They can go out if you tighten the shoulders. Bring your elbows in. Push with your feet as if you were trying to straighten your legs. Push with your elbows. Keep them in close to the side of the body, the hands. And breathe. If you've gone for a wheel, 5 breaths and then come down. Push a little bit higher and then release. So coming down slowly from the shoulder blades all the way down, spine just rippling down really slowly, 1 vertebra at a time. We're going to do that 2 more times, okay? So again with the hands like this, or if you'd rather interlace the fingers underneath the body, your choice, yeah? Now you've tried this, you can decide which best for you. So off we go. On an inhale, pushing up. Active, active, active. Wiggle, wiggle. If you're doing the first version, bring your elbows in. They tend to go out. Yeah. And really push them into the floor. If you interlace your fingers, try and stretch your fingers on the floor a bit further away, but more towards the heels. 2 more breaths. And then release. Coming down. 1 vertebra at a time. Just stay for 1 breath and back up again. So again, choose your option. Off you go. Last one. Can you get a bit higher this time? Brilliant. And then slowly lower down. If you did shoulder stand, come into fish. We'll all do fish. So hands will go underneath the body like this, underneath the bottom. So you've got your hands flat, index fingers touching. And then you come up onto your elbows. And then you let the head fall back. So it opens up the front of the body. Five breaths here. And then from here, please, just release into Shavasana. So for Shavasana, you will have your feet turning out, back of the hands on the floor, so the shoulders stay open. Or if you'd rather have contact with the belly, place them hands on the abdomen. Preferably eyes closed, but if that's not comfortable, have the eyes open. And then take a big breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And feel the ripple that goes down through the spine. Do that 3 times. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. And follow the ripple with the breath down through the spine. And on this last one, exhale out anything that's bothering you or you don't need anymore. And And feel those points of contact. So we have the heels, backs of the legs, backs of the calves, the thighs, the buttocks, the hips, pelvis. Feel that becoming heavier. And then we have curvature of the spine, and we have the contact of the upper back and the shoulders. Feel them becoming heavier, releasing, letting go. Back of the head. Feel the head releasing, the neck releasing. Make sure the jaw's released. Check there's no tension in the jaw. There's no clenching in the jaw. If there is, move the lower jaw from side to side to release it. And perhaps you can feel the lips touching. Perhaps you can feel the tongue relaxed, held towards the back, teeth. Perhaps you can feel your eyelashes touching, left eye, right eyelashes. Scan through the body once more, so start with the back of the head, back of the shoulder, feel all those points of contact with the floor, and imagine perhaps that you just sink into the support and safety of the floor. It's hard and it's holding you, and you can really let go at a muscular level, skeletal level. So shoulders, backs of the arms possibly, buttocks and pelvis, thighs, backs of the bottom of the calf, heels. Feel all those points of contact. And as we lie here, I'd like you to think about the breath coming in through the nose, not trying to control it in any way. And as you lie here, I'm going to just read something from somebody who'd come off a meditation retreat, and this is how they felt. So I want you to stay with your breath, and I'm going to read you this experience by a guy called Alan Clements. He said, I fell in love with the simplicity of just being. There was no hurry, no place to go, no persona to uphold, no bills to pay, no appointments to keep, no one to please, nothing to say, nothing to fear. It was my first real glimpse of the natural mind, a mind free of conceptual involvement, at ease within its own uncontrived nature, abiding in a space of undistracted presence, feeling life so immediately and fully brought a natural stature to everything you did. Suddenly, everything opened, everything mattered. The way you sipped tea, the way you bathed, the way you relaxed the habits of outcome. The day became more like art than practice. So staying with your breath, and in a space possibly of undistracted presence. As you stay relaxed, if you can, the muscles release just a little bit more. Feeling held and safe in the comfort of your own home. And feel free to stay in Shavasana. You do have that luxury of being at home. And the longer you can stay in this relaxed state, the more the benefits of the session are reaped in terms of muscles releasing, blood flow increasing, areas of habitual holding and tension being smoothed and soothed. So feel free to stay for as long as you want. But I will draw the session to a close now. So thank you everybody for practicing with me. And if if you do want to come out of Shavasana, then obviously you can slowly make your way to sitting. But again, taking as much time as you need